Hello and welcome to brand new episode of Android development webinar. Myself Madindra and I'm the lead Android developer from SOU. Android definitely is the platform which is used to develop the most attractive and most effective application when that is supported by Google. In this Android development series, we have so far seen how an Android application can be developed and what are the environments required for the development of Android application. This is the development of Android series sponsored by STMS and management is done by sazesofuniverse.com. Introducing all of you about myself, I'm the lead developer working currently on STMS internet and internal projects named NR Tax Enablement as lead development and a lead developer. The project is definitely using an AngularJS in front end, and we are also building an application for this project, which also uses Node.js in middle layer and MongoDB in backend. For more information, please visit our site, as you can see on your screen right now. The main aim of this webinar is to cover up following Android application session in which we will be creating button, adding action to those button, making few changes to the components with the help of button click, taking input from text fields. Text fields are simply going to be our numeral text fields where we'll be inputting, our user will be able to input the text field. With the help of those text field, users will be able to take numerical values and we can manipulate those numerical values. And for this webinar, we will be using two numbers from those text fields, and those two numbers will be added and the results of those two numbers will be displayed in another more text field. And after doing all this works or perform or make those text fields to perform the required manipulation, and after performing all those operations, we'll be displaying the result, and finally we'll be creating our application package file or Android application package file or APK file, which will be installed in our Android devices. So this is basically our aim for this session of this webinar. So let's move ahead and start doing our task for the particular Android application development. So let's develop first button for our first Android application development in this webinar session. So before knowing how to add code to a button, I think how to create a button would be more helpful, because what I'm assuming right now when I am describing or I am about to go actually for Android Studio is I'm assuming all of you are a real beginner for Android application development, so that I will have to be presenting you with how you can actually develop an Android applications button. You may have seen different types of button on your Android phone, which will perform something when you actually touch on the screen, uh, actually on your button on your screen of your Android device. So let's go ahead and see how those buttons are really created. So from this screen over here, I'll be moving forward to the Android Studios screen. Uh, you may have known that in the previous webinar, we were developing a different uh, Android project in which we only displayed Hello World over there. Now in this webinar, we will be actually moving ahead to develop a button and add some operations to those buttons. So let's go ahead and start Android Studio. And I recommend all of you who are listening and watching this webinar right now also to start your Android Studio so that you can continue or you can follow me at the same time. In my background, Android Studio is just starting. You'll be able to see when I share the next screen. So this is it. This is my Android Studio. In this Android Studio, what you can see is I have the previous project, which was named as first. And if in case, if some of you might have missed this development in the previous webinar session, there is no need to worry because I'll be showing you all with the development of project from the very beginning once again in this webinar. But to keep in mind that I'll not be repeating this same thing again in the next webinars. So you have to be really uh, going a little faster from the next webinar onwards, because uh, up to today's webinar, it's okay to be starting again with a new project, but from the next webinar onwards, we'll be adding more modules to your same project that we'll be developing right now here. So for those who have missed out the last webinar, let's go to File, create a new project. This webinar in which I will be developing project is going to be a real quick one because we have to do a couple of tasks over here. That is to create button and to add some codes over there inside of the button. So in this field over here, application name, I'll be adding name to the project. Let's say the application name is second. Let's go ahead and click next. When you click on next, you will see this kind of interface which says whether you want to develop this for phone and tablet or some other thing. You can develop it for any other Android application or Android device. So I'm focusing right now for phone and tablet over here. The minimum SDK or minimum software required to run this will be Android ice cream sandwich. You can change to other. The latest one over here being marshmallow. So let's just choose the simplest one, that is ice cream sandwich. Click on next. Select blank or basic activity. Again, go ahead and You just need to click on finish. You can change the activity name, but it's okay to leave it default. Once everything is settled, you are now ready to go ahead to create or modify the project defaults, but it'll take some time because it is developing your new project, which will be able to run on your operating system of Android. Since it is developed on the Windows format, it'll definitely be taking some time to develop your Android project. The project name that we have given is second, which has been notified over here. While this project is being built, let's go ahead and look at what we have done in the last webinar. Actually, this doesn't allow me to select some other file, so there is no any other alternative other than to wait a few more seconds for the project to pop up when it gets ready. So basically what I'm trying to do throughout this webinar is I will be writing the first code for button, and before writing a code for button we'll definitely be going to create a button itself. So now you can see my second project is built over here. When you see the default project being built, it opens an XML file which is named as content main.xml. Along with it there is main activity.java, which definitely will have some logical codes. It is still uh, building over here, so it'll take some time for this red highlights, which are the indication of error, to get, or for a developer to get rid of this kind of error, you'll have to wait. So slowly but surely these errors are getting removed. Now it says rendering problem will not affect our development. You can see over here by default there is hello world. In every application, or in fact in our last episode of our Android application development, we were developing the same hello world text as our first Android application. Now we will be adding some button and making changes with the help of those buttons. So in order to do that, what you need to do is you have to open up your Android, sorry, activity main.xml, which is definitely inside of your layout folder over here, inside of your second project, which is the name of the project. And this is the main activity.java, which will be controlling your buttons, or which will be making changes to your entire Android application. So if you move to content main.xml and switch to design from here, what you see is you can see the palette. This is the palette. With the help of the palette, you can simply drag and drop everything you want to drop. So our main aim is to create a button. If you don't want to do drag and drop, you can simply switch to text and change it from here. But since we are beginner, or I am assuming all of us who are watching this webinar are beginners, even if we know something, then there is no need to worry, because we can simply go ahead with our slow pace so that we can become a good developer in future. So let's move to content main.xml again and switch to design. We were focusing on the development and button. So you can see inside the widget folder here, in the widgets folder, there's an OK button. You can simply click on it here, drag it, and drop anywhere you want. So you can see a new button is created. The button itself is named as new button. You can simply change the name of the button by saying here in the right hand side of your screen, which says component 3. The text view is this one, which was created by default. It says hello world, and the text was actually displayed because text was given the string hello world. Now the OK button similarly was given new button. So if I want to make changes to this OK button, I can simply double click on the OK button. Here there is a pop-up menu says that the text is new button and the ID of the button is button. So what I'm going to do over here is I will be typing click me, and I'll press enter. It is rendering, and the rendering is complete. Now the text is changed. The button says click me. Now if we start or click on run over here, there'll definitely be showing the same thing on your emulator or your APK file. In our previous webinar, I have shown you how to create an application package or APK, and also how to start emulator. Let us not go to that part right now again. What I'm trying to do over here is I will be putting some code inside of this button. So in order to do that, I'll have to click on this button, click on this symbol over here, which says show export properties. If I click on this, I can simply go ahead and make some onclick button method. So this is the onclick here, and this will give the name to the onclick. Or also from here in the text, the name of the button here definitely is the ID, which is the button, and the under text was displayed from here. What I have been doing here is I was just developing a button like this one, click me. So now my aim is to add some code on this button so that it can perform some given task from the logical part, which will be coded right here in main-activity.java. So before moving on this part of the logical code, I'll have to give this button that if I click on this button, this will definitely be performing, this button will definitely be trying to perform some operation. But before doing that, I'll have to notify this button that when I will be clicking on this button, the button will be looking for some methods to start from. So in order to do that, I'll be pointing this button to go ahead and start on some methods. So to do that, I'll be shifting to the text of this contained main XML, and let's go here and add something new, that is Android. Click search name over here. So I'll be typing Android on click, and this will definitely be taking some seconds over here. So I have just said that Android on click. This is the all predefined things, and this one over here will be pointing on click method from the main activity.java. Over here I'll just remove the app compat. I just need to have activity. After removing this, there will be some error. This will be imported over here. I need this and this one. I will be removing all this. So what I'm trying to do over here is I will be adding what I'm trying to do over here is I am making name it as click because I have given the name click over here in the Android on click part over here. After doing this, what I need to do is I need to add a view, which is also a class object is made view. Once this is done, I'll be trying to make an object for the button. So I'll be giving this name. Object name will be button. You can give any name of your choice. Simply for understanding, I am just writing button over here, and the view object is view over here, which is the class. Definitely the class is taken from here. It is from this package. What this view class does will be explained to you after the code is complete. Passing it to button. Once it is done, I'll be adding button.setText method, which will be saying to have only so what I'm trying to do over here is I'm trying to play with the button. This was the button that we created just a few minutes earlier, and this initially is saying that click me, and when a user goes and clicks on this button, what happens is the button will be changed to you have clicked me. In order to see this output, you can run here from this button, and before actually actually starting this emulator, what I'm trying to do is I'll be adding few more things so that we can see a couple of outputs at the same time instead of doing only one. Let's go to the design view again. Our main aim of this particular development session was to add a button to modify its content, and also now we were saying that we'll be inputting some number and manipulate those numbers. So let's take a couple of numeral input, that is number input, which will be decimal. You can take any of these text fields, but I'll just be demonstrating you on how to use decimal number text field. So I have just dragged and dropped this first one. Let's go ahead and take yet another one. Done with this. This first one will take first input. This one is for second one, and again let's take third one, so that first number, second number will be added or subtracted or multiplied according to your use, and the result will be displayed here in this text field. So in order to do the operation, I will definitely be requiring a button, which again will be done by the new button. I have just dragged and dropped a button. This is a new button. What you can notice on the right hand side of your screen is everything that you have just dragged and dropped will be notified on the right hand side of your screen. This new button can be changed by double clicking on the button and changing the text. So let's say it's text will be given add. You can see the text getting changed. There are three text fields that we just used, which are the number decimal inputs, and you can simply change, or you can simply know the variable of those three text fields. This is edit text, this one is edit text 2, this one is edit text 3. So there are quite lengthy names. So let's change the name of the ID of those text fields. Let's say this one to be N1, so that we can remember, and it is simple when the variable or the ID name will be short. You can see the edit text name getting changed. Let's make change to the second one. Let's make this edit text 2 to be N2. Yes. Let's make change to the third one. Let's give this name N3. Say yes. Now what you have to do next is, you know that this one is N1, this one is N2, and this one is N3. Now the only thing that is remained is to add the code inside of this button. We have already coded for this button over here. Now let's go ahead and code for the add button. In order to code for the add button, what we were doing in the last one, that is the click me button, we were just modifying the text and ID, and after we did that, we simply went through this symbol over here and changed the on-click button property. That was, the on-click was used to point for a method. Similarly, we'll have to change the on-click method over here, which is empty right now. Let's say after clicking on this button, we'll make one add method or a function in our main activity.java. So let's move ahead and again code for new method, that is public void add. UP, again same thing, add previous. Last button, we were just simply making change to the text of the button. But for now, here in this next or new button, we have to simply add two different numerals from the Android application package. Since I just modified few things over here, there are a couple of things getting executed on my system, so definitely there will be some retardness in my computer, so no need to worry on that. Moving ahead, what I was doing was I was just making this method. Now I have to initialize this edit text also here in Java file. Let's say first one is E1. Uh, After initialize your edit text, you have to find your view, which will be done by id r.id.n1. That was just a name for your first edit text. Now you have to cast it to the type, which is definitely edit text. Similarly, you need to initialize your second text field, which will also be find view by id, and that is r.id.n2 for this one. Finally, final one, the text 3 equals to, I'll pass your edit text, then find view by id r.id.n3. Your different free text fields are initialized. You may have seen that we have three different text fields. First two are for input, and the third one is definitely for the output. Now let's initialize or declare three double variables to take input from these three text field. In order to do that, I just declared three different double variables d1, d2, and d3. d1 equals double the value of, that is just casting d1.getText dot to string. What I'm doing over here is, we know that d1 is double variable. First of all, just have a look at this one over here. e1 is the text field, which will be taking value from n1 in the context main. That is, this is the n1, the value of which will be assigned or stored in d1, whereas d1 is the double variable, and e1 over here is the variable or object for the edit text, which will again be taking input from the text field or the numeral text field, and we are storing it in a double. Text field itself is a string type variable, which will be giving string value, whereas double is different data types. So in order to do that, in order to convert different variables, we have to convert those variables. Now similarly, we will be taking another input. Similarly, double dot value of e1 dot get text dot to string. So this two line over here will take inputs from these two text fields. Now the third thing that is remain, or the third thing that we are trying to do is, we will be trying to add these two numbers. In order to add this to number, we'll be using d3 over here. d3 equals to d1 plus d2. Now the result is already with us, that is d3. So the only thing that we need to do is to display this d3, which will be the result of the addition of the two different input from the two different text fields. In order to display this, we will be using n3, that is this one, the ID of which is stored over here in the e3. So we'll be using e3 dot set text, and we'll be displaying e3. So you can see clearly the error is being displayed. Why this is getting displayed over here is d3 definitely is double variable over here, whereas e3 has n3, which is string variable, or which consists of string displayer, that is the text field will be displaying string, but d3 is double variable. So in order to do that, we'll have to convert this particular value, that is d3, to string, and we can convert this to string by string.value of. Now you can see the error is eliminated. So it's all clear. We have two different buttons. One is click me and the other is add. We have three different text fields whose output will be given in this one. First one for first input, second for second, third for displaying. Everything is ready. We are all set to see the output. So without any delay, let's go ahead and click on the run button. It says to create new emulator. If you don't have any, we have two of the emulators already with us, as I have already described you how to create an emulator for yourself in the last webinar. So I'll be selecting this one, that is Nexus 5X API. Go ahead and click OK. So it will be starting Android virtual device for myself. It will definitely be taking some time, and since this is live webinar, it will definitely be taking some time, and this is definitely running on the real time, so I'm not hiding anything or I'm not escaping anything, so you'll have to wait and watch when your output pops up on your emulator or your virtual device. But if you are really bored with the speed of your virtual device development, you can also go to build and create or build APK, which will give you one APK file which can be transferred to your mobile device via your USB cable to your Android device, and you can simply start your application your real Android device instead of waiting for this lengthy process of Android virtual device, which will be way faster. Since I am running on live webinar over here, I cannot actually show you my real hardware device or real Android device right now. Instead of waiting for this one, you can try on your own mobile device. And if you have or if you encounter any kind of problem when you uh, build your APK file, you can simply go ahead and write me your confusions or obstacle that you are facing right now. So we were in the middle of a webinar where we were creating our Android in which we simply made our buttons. We created our buttons. We uh, went through to add codes to our button. Did print text fields. We added one another button and also the code for the last button, and that code was definitely this to text fields value and display on this one. So we are still waiting for the emulator to pop up, and once the emulator pops up, we'll be able to see output. Definitely, if you are running on your own machine, you'll also seeing the running processes for your Android virtual device to pop up. And I have also described you that you can build your APK file rather than to wait for your emulator to start. So if you have any queries or any questions regarding your development, you can feel free to write to us. You can do that by going to our website and write your questions or your obstacle or your confusions or anything you have while developing this particular application. And thank you so much for viewing our free Android webinar for the development of Android application. In this Android application development webinar, we went through our button development. We went through adding codes to our text fields, to our buttons. In the next webinar, we'll be discussing about how to actually code and develop those buttons, those text fields, and those on-click methods from XML file. In this webinar, we covered how to create the input tools and how to display results by manipulating those user inputs. And the update of APK or updating APK or creating new APK is still going outside or going in the background of our Android Studio. It is also running, and I'm also giving webinar that too, a live webinar. So definitely my system is itself going slow. Maybe going slow because we are developing a heavy application, that is Android application, and that too inside Windows. So a couple of different things are going, so you can just ignore the slow process over here. Definitely it's a heavy application development, so these things keep on happening. We updated or we created our application package, which definitely is running on our background. We will be installing this when the application package APK will be developed. When you click on that build APK button, your application package will be developed and your Android Studio will be showing notification to show that folder. And you need to verify your code by running those applications on your Android device. And if you are able to do that, you are ready to go for your first ever build Android application from this webinar. Thank you so much for your time. I hope for your Android application development to be more interesting and entertaining, and this application that we just developed right now will be working for you. If you don't have any errors, you can feel that you will be able to code in the next webinar also. But if you have any question, definitely do write to us, ask question, feel free to ask. We are here to help you as much as we can. Thank you so much once again.